Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my new video. In today's video, our French tour guide is showing us the city and giving us information about the Paris city.
I know that you visited the Eiffel Tower this morning, but we will make a little bit different start. In Paris, you will discover this today. It's over 2,000 years old. So the Eiffel Tower was built for the World Fair of 1889. Probably this date says nothing to you, but you've probably had a magical station organized on top of the Eiffel Tower. Then when the radio came, the Eiffel Tower was turned into the radio station, and then when the television came in the 20th century, it became a little bit higher than it originally was, so not 300 meters, but 330 meters. To be precise, for a very long time it was 324 meters high, and only this year they added last 6 meters, the very last TV antenna, which now you can see on your left side. And on your left side, you can see our first stop. So that's the reason why we came. Have a look on your left side, you can see this fantastic view of the Eiffel Tower. So this panoramic spot on your left, on your right side, you can see two enormous buildings. Those are the examples of the French pavilions remaining from the World Fair, one of the World Fairs, the last one which took place in Paris in 1937. So there were only French pavilions. So you see the size of those different pavilions which were built for every World Fair. And on your left side, you can see this guy looking like a Roman emperor. That's Napoleon I, and he's about to be crowned by the goddess of victory, the Roman goddess of victory. If you keep looking on the left side, you can see an eternal flame and many flowers. This is where lies the tomb of a Roman soldier from the First World War. So that's why we cannot drive beneath the ark. It's not possible anymore. But originally, Napoleon wanted to build the ark a little bit like the Roman emperors in ancient Rome, so that his army and himself could enter the city of Paris passing beneath the ark. Unfortunately, it took 30 years to build the ark, so it was completed after Napoleon died. But even today, all the inscriptions which you can see on the ark, the names of his generals, the names of his officers, his marshals, you see all those smaller names inside the ark. And now, from the Arc de Triomphe, which is 55 meters high, we will follow what we call in Paris the historical axis, or the triumphal line. Why do we call it that way? Because the Arc de Triomphe, that's the part of this triumphal way, or the historical axis. Try to look in front of you. In front of you, you will see the Champs-Élysées. Yeah, the Arc de Triomphe is right behind, and the Champs-Élysées is just in front of us. But after the Champs-Élysées, and now we'll drive down the Champs-Élysées, on the horizon you can see the towers. All the major monuments, and we'll discover this today, they are located on this historical axis, as we call this major perspective in Paris. The Arc de Triomphe behind us, the Champs-Élysées, so this avenue on which we are now, then the Concorde Square. We will make a stop there at the end of the Champs-Élysées, the Concorde Square, the widest, the largest square in Paris. Then the Tuileries Garden, you will see first off, and then the Louvre. All those monuments in front of you now. So, in total, the historical axis is almost 4 kilometers. All those monuments, they are located on this main axis, which we call the historical access or the travel way. So that was the idea of Napoleon when he built the Arc de Triomphe. So he wanted to go down that way as we are doing now. So the Champs-Élysées, which we are now, why is this avenue so famous? Why is this avenue considered as the most beautiful avenue in the world? And it's definitely the most popular avenue here in Paris, among the Parisians, but also the tourists. Well, the first reason, it's pretty obvious. First, there are many fancy shops and stores here. The most famous one, you will see it now on your right side, Louis Vuitton store. The largest store in Europe. 5 floors only for Louis Vuitton. And if you look on your right, you will see a line. Just to enter this store, you have to wait in line, maybe 1 hour or more. On your right side, you can also see the most famous restaurants on the Champs-Élysées. This one, with the red color, Fouquet's, it's called, with a red carpet in the corner. Below the red carpet, one can read the names of all the French cinema stars and movie directors. This restaurant, that's the meeting place for many French political leaders and all the cinema stars. The cinema stars come here at least once a year. When we have the Caesar Cinema Awards, it's like the Oscars in the United States, and the gala dinner, it's always organized by Fouquet's. Usually it takes place in February. Besides the very luxury, fancy place, Champs-Élysées, we also have very expensive shops and stores like H&M, like Gap, like Zara. We have restaurants like McDonald's or Five Guys, which is very similar to McDonald's. So the first reason why actually the Champs-Élysées is so famous and popular, it's a place for everyone. You don't have to be rich, you can be poor, you can be rich, you can always find something on the Champs-Élysées, always. Keep looking on your left and on the right side, and you will see many brands which you have in your city as well. Secondly, the second reason why the Champs-Élysées is so famous, look at the sidewalks. For the moment we haven't seen anything in Paris, but believe me, and you will see it for yourself, that those sidewalks are the widest, the largest sidewalks in Paris. This is why it's so pleasant to walk down the Champs-Élysées. This is why every restaurant, including Five Guys on the right side, every restaurant here on the Champs-Élysées has a right for a terrace. So they put the tables and stools outside. And one more reason why the Champs-Élysées is so famous. Today it's Sunday, so Sunday in Europe it's usually the day off. That's the day when all the shops, other stores are closed. On the Champs-Élysées are the shops, the restaurants, the bars open until very late. So if after the store you don't want to go back to a hotel and you want to spend a nice evening in Paris, the Champs-Élysées would be the place for you. Plus, already at the end of the day when it gets dark, you can see the Christmas illumination. Actually, look at those plane trees on your left and your right side. So you can see the illumination. It's not on yet. You really have to wait until 6 o'clock at least. But the main Christmas illumination in Paris, it's here on the Champs-Élysées. And so the first 2 levels are the restaurants and the bars. The upper levels on the Champs-Élysées are usually the offices. There are not many apartments on the Champs-Élysées because it's very expensive, plus it's very noisy. It's most of the shops are not so late, you can imagine how noisy it is. So this is why most of the buildings here are the offices. Plus for the companies, that's the question of prestige. Well, it doesn't matter if you have a big international company or a small national company, but it's better to have the Champs-Élysées mentioned on your business card. And now, same way. And now we're still on the Champs-Élysées. Actually, we haven't reached yet the end of the Champs-Élysées, but now we'll turn to the right side to come back the same place a little bit later. And here in this part of the Champs-Élysées, where we don't have shops, you can actually see why we call this avenue the Champs-Élysées. The Champs in French, C-H-A-M-P-S. It means the fields. The fields, like the park. You see, in the slower part of the Champs-Élysées, we mainly have a walking area with the trees. It's a kind of the park, a kind of the fields. But besides those fields, and this is where the name of this avenue comes from, we have 2 palaces. So now please look on your right and we'll turn to the right side. So on your right side, you can see an enormous palace. It's called the Grand Palais, the Great Palace. So this palace was closed down for the restoration works last year. And the restoration works will be completed by the Summer Olympics of 2024. So in July 2024, we have the Summer Olympics here in Paris. So that's why lots of things in Paris are under restoration works, including the Grand Palais. So unfortunately, this year we will not have a huge ice skating inside the Grand Palais, because every year before the Grand Palais closed down for the restoration works, we had the largest ice skating inside the Grand Palais. On your left side, however, the Petit Palais, the small palace, is open. So the small palace, it's a fine arts museum of Paris. And originally, these two palaces, the Petit Palais, the small palace, this is what it means in French, and the Grand Palais, the Great Palace on your right side, they were built for the World Fair, one World Fair, which took place in Paris in 1900. So just 11 years after the World Fair, for which the Eiffel Tower had been built. And those two palaces, they were only French pavilions. So you have to imagine the same size pavilions for the United States, for China, for England, for Germany, etc., etc. So every World Fair, that was a very amazing event in Paris. This bridge, on which we are now, we're going to make our next stop right after the bridge. So this bridge, it is definitely the most beautiful, the most elegant bridge in Paris. Today we'll cross the River Seine a couple of times, so you will see that the city of Paris is located on two banks of the River Seine. That's why the bridges are so important for Paris. We have more than 30 bridges in Paris in total. But this one, which was built for the World Fair of 1900, together with the Grand and the Petit Palais behind us. So this bridge, it's called Alexander III Bridge, and this bridge, the idea of this bridge when it was built was to create one more perspective in Paris. We're not on the historical axis now, so we've just left the Champs-Élysées, we just crossed the River Seine, now we are on the left bank. But we will try to make a stop. So we will make the stop on this green lane so that you can see this perspective. So on the opposite bank of the River Seine, you will see the Grand and the Petit Palais remaining from the World Fair of 1900. It weighs almost as much as the whole Eiffel Tower. So Alexander III Bridge created this perspective, created this view. If you want to take pictures of this view, we'll make a very short stop here, just 5 minutes, to take the picture of the bridge, and you're in front of it.
Right, a quick photo stop and then we come back to the coach, please.
Hello again, we are crossing the river by the same bridge, Alexander III Bridge. Look on the left side, you will see one of the most beautiful views on the Eiffel Tower. For every World Fair, France always tried to build something interesting from the engineering point of view. Even this bridge, at the first glance, it looks just like a bridge. The Champs-Élysées, it's not just the avenue where it's so pleasant to walk, to shop, to sit in a cafe. It is also the venue for the most important military parade which takes place here every year on the 13th of July. So the day which we call the Bastille Day. The French Revolution 1789, it started from the storming of the Bastille prison, which used to be in Paris, and a little bit later I will show you the remains of this prison. This is how the French Revolution started. That was like the flashpoint of the French Revolution. So every year on the 14th of July, we have the military parade, organized in the morning on the Champs-Élysées. So the soldiers, they go down the Champs-Élysées from the Arc de Triomphe until the Concorde Square, so the square on which we are now, and the flag, so the flag which you will see a little bit everywhere here. So now we will make this stop. If you have to go to restrooms, please follow my flag. So the restrooms are just behind the gate of the Tulip Gardens on the right side, but I will go with you. If you don't have to go to restrooms, you can stay here. We'll make a stop for at least 15 minutes, so you can take pictures. Let's make a full round first. Let me explain the concept of ancient Egypt. So this obelisk was the gift of the Egyptian authorities to France in the 19th century, came here. And the reason why the Egyptians gave us this obelisk, it's because Jean-François Champollion, so the French scholar, who was the first one who had deciphered the Egyptian hieroglyphics. So, at the center of the square as well, you can see two fountains not functioning. The other one is functioning, probably not. It's already a little bit ruined, so officially it's the Revolution Square. And this square was the execution square in Paris. At the time of the French Revolution, well, the French Revolution started in 1789, but actually it lasted for a couple of years, for almost 10 years, until Napoleon I, Napoleon Bonaparte, came to power. And the most terrible year of the French Revolution was 1793, so the fourth year of the French Revolution. Well, this is when the King, Louis XVI, was executed. He was executed at this same square. At that time, the square was empty, so the guillotine instead was placed on the square. And you see the size of the square. Thousands of people could come to the square to see the execution of the king. Everyone wanted to see it. Yeah, we don't kill the king. Anyways, we don't have kings anymore. But we don't kill the king every year. So after Louis XVI, Marie Antoinette, the queen, she was executed at the same square as well. After that, the revolutionary political leaders like Danton, Desmoulins, Robespierre, so all of them were executed at the same square. In total, over 1,100 people were executed at the Revolution Square. This was going during the French Revolution, and that's why, when the French Revolution was over, we decided to change the name of the square from the Revolution Square into the Concorde Square, as we call this square today. Please look on your right side. On the right side across the river, you can see the National Assembly, so this building with the French flag, that's the lower chamber of the French Parliament. Please look at this bridge just behind us. It's called the Concorde Bridge, just like the square. This bridge is built with the stones of the Bastille prison. So I told you that the French Revolution started with the storming of the Bastille prison, which does not exist anymore. The prison itself used to be located in the eastern part of Paris, very far from here. And after the Bastille was stormed, during 2 years, the revolutionary government decided to dismantle, destroy the prison. But they used these stones. Some of the stones were used to build buildings around the area where the Bastille prison used to be, but most of the stones were used to build this bridge, the Concorde Bridge. So the bridge you have just seen, it's made with the stones of remains of this very, very famous prison. So the Bastille Bay, in fact, when we have the military parade in Paris, we celebrate the storming of the Bastille prisons of the flashpoint in the French Revolution as the 14th of July. It's a bit similar, for those who come from India, it's a bit similar to what they call Independence Day, and we have the parade in Delhi, etc. So we have something similar here in Paris. If you look at your right side now, across the river, you can see a burning with a very long roof and two towers with the clocks. So it was a former train station built for the World Fair of 1900, but it's not very convenient to have a train station in the city center, in a very city center, so that's why we don't use it as a train station anymore. It's a museum now, so it's called the Musée d'Orsay. It's famous for its paintings by Renoir, Sisley, Degas, Claude Monet, Alfred Sisley, Toulouse-Lautrec, Vincent van Gogh, so the painters use. And in total, if you walk and deliver all the rooms, all the corridors, all the halls, to know that we have three major wings, like this, like the one on your left side. 3 levels, plus minus 1 level, so basically 4 levels in total, and many courtyards. So if you walk everywhere in the Louvre, it will be 15 kilometers. So that's really the largest island, a little bit at the right bank where we are now, and a little bit at the left bank, which we'll see a little bit later. So this is how big Paris was. It was actually much smaller than Paris is today. And all the oldest monuments they are located on this same island, in de la Cité. To start with the Notre Dame Cathedral, which we'll see soon. We continue with the bridge. So now if you look on your right side, in front of us, on the right side, you can see a bridge made of limestone. So that's the oldest bridge in Paris. It's not very logical because we call this bridge the Pont Neuf, the new bridge. But actually, that's the oldest bridge in Paris. It's more than 500 years old, this bridge, on your right side. And this bridge, it crosses the Cité Island. Now, you will see the oldest royal palace, the oldest royal residence in Paris, and that's not the Louvre of Notre Dame. Maybe you read the book. So originally it was a book written by Victor Hugo, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that was about this Notre Dame, about the Parisian Cathedral. The Parisian Cathedral is actually not the largest cathedral in the world. It's not the oldest church even in Paris. In Paris, we have older churches than this way. It's pretty old, so everything is old on the City Island. That's not the oldest one, but it's definitely the most famous church, the most famous cathedral in Europe because of this book. So Victor Hugo made it famous. By the way, can you see that? Let's just close the river again. That's the end of the City Island. And now we will continue to be a little bit stuck in the traffic jam. Now that the other streets here on the left bank, so we just crossed the river and we see the island. Now we are on the left bank of the River Seine. So keep looking on your left side and you will see again tiny streets, many tourists. If you had to come to Paris for many days like this, you could discover different areas of Paris by walking, because what you can see on your left side, this part, we call it the Latin Quarter. It should be discovered by walking. We cannot drive inside, obviously, as you can see, it's on pedestrian. So inside we have houses which are 500-600 years old, to the streets which are as old as the houses, so that's the part of medieval, historical Paris. And the reason why we call this area the Latin Quarter. On the right bank of the River Seine, so here on the left side, there is a university. So it's called the Sorbonne University, or just the University of Paris. It's one of the oldest universities in Europe. For the first time, it was created in the 13th century, mid of the 13th century by Roberto Sorbonne. So this is where the name of this university comes from. And at that time, in the 13th century, at the time of Roberto Sorbonne, all the students of the Sorbonne University, they had to be fluent in Latin. So this is why we call this area the Latin Quarter. It has nothing to do, the name has nothing to do with the Latin American. It has to do with the Latin language, which was the language of educated people, students and teachers. And this part of Paris, it's really very different from the rest of Paris. So now the Cité Island, it's on your right side. If you look slightly behind, you will still see the facade of the Notre Dame Cathedral. So now we're still going the opposite way. We are following the River Seine now, by the way. So this is where on my left hand, that's the left bank, and the right bank, the opposite bank is on our right hand across behind the City Island. You know that in any city you can decide where the right or the left bank is. So why did we decide that La Rive Gauche, so as we call it, the left bank, it's this bank on which we're now. So you will see the Cité Island and the two towers and the crane behind of the Notre Dame Cathedral, and we are on the way to the right bank. In fact, we have to cross the whole right bank, not only to pass by the Paris Opera House, but also by the Gallery Lafayette, to reach the Montmartre Hill. Montmartre Hill, it's near the city center of Paris. So where we are now, that's the city center. So from the City Island until here, it's a district number 1. So the very heart of Paris. And once we reach here, this is how, in the 19th century, the right bank, so this bank was rebuilt. But we are very lucky that this bank was rebuilt. You see, we can drive here, which was not the case in the historical city center. Thanks to Haussmannian boulevards, today we can move from one part of Paris to another one. Baron Haussmann made the Champs-Élysées as wide as the Champs-Élysées is now. That was all separated under Baron Haussmann. Finally, this building in front of us, look at this building, it looks like a royal palace. It's only the Paris Opera House. So that's a place where we come to listen to an opera or to see the ballet. That's why you will see many people here. And the Gallery Lafayette stands on the Boulevard Haussmann. So this long white boulevard is like with the traffic a little bit in front of us. It's called after Baron Eugène Haussmann. This mayor of Paris who basically recreated the right bank of the River Seine. From this point of view, the right bank is a little bit artificial. Yeah, it's not very old. Most of the buildings here, it's only 19th century. It's not very old for Paris. I imagine that it's very old for Dubai. But I mean for Paris, if you compare it with what we could see on the Cité Island, where the monuments are 1,000 years old, like the Conciergerie, or almost 900 years old, like the Notre Dame Cathedral, you can understand that for us, the right bank, it's not something very old. But we like this area very much greater. Sometimes it gets very dark, always black. In fact, in Paris, we have to clean the facades of our buildings every 15 years, so that's the average. Because with the pollution, it gets pretty dark. Moulin Rouge. It is as old as the Eiffel Tower. If you stay in Paris, if you don't go back to your hotel after Montmartre, you can try to book the tickets for the show tonight. So there is every day we have the show here at night.